Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Sini, and I'll be your host for today. And I'll be hosting today's session along with Balaji, a product expert for Zoho Writer. Today, we are diving into how Zoho Writer can simplify and streamline IT asset and incident management using fillable templates. Balaji, excited to get started.
Absolutely, Sini. I'm looking forward to showing how Zoho Writer can make life easier for IT teams by automating and standardizing these processes.
That's great. So, without any further ado, let's get started with today's agenda. First, we'll be covering the basics of IT asset and incident management. Then, we'll be moving into the importance of fillable templates. And Balaji will show us how to create a few forms relevant to this topic, like an incident report form or IT asset request form. Afterward, we'll take a look at some exciting upcoming features in Zoho Writer. And then finally, we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. So feel free to note down any questions that you have then and there. And ready, Balaji?
Sini, let's jump right in. But before that, could you give us an introduction to IT asset and incident management?
Definitely, I'll be glad to do that. So to kick things off, let's talk about why IT asset and incident management are critical. Efficient asset management keeps track of an organization's resources, while incident management helps teams respond quickly to issues and minimizing downtime and cost. Together, they ensure smooth operations and help maintain control over assets and workflows. I think that
That was a
clarifies this.
Yes, that was a great overview, Sini. Now let me introduce Zoho Writer and explain how it supports automation. With Writer's fillable templates feature, we can create dynamic forms or capture data consistently and speed up the approval process. Once we build these templates, they can be reused and even sent for signatures, creating a seamless end-to-end process for asset and incident management.
Balaji, could you share some of the topic benefits using this fillable templates in our Zoho Writer?
Of course, Sini. Fillable templates streamline data collection, eliminating manual entry and reducing errors. They also enable automated workflows such as sending requests for approvals or signatures based on certain criteria. Organizations can significantly cut down processing time for asset requests, making it easier for teams to manage their IT needs without any bottlenecks.
So now let's jump into some specific use cases which Balaji will be walking us through. And so first, let's start with our first use case here, creating an incident report form. We want fields like incident reported by impacted users, date and time, current status, incident DRI, severity, and a few date fields for issues started and issue fixed. So Balaji, can we set this up using our fillable templates in Writer?
Yes, Sini. In Zoho Writer, we'll use a combination of single line text, date time, and multi line text fields. These fields will help collect structured information about each incident. Let me pull up a mock diagram to illustrate how it looks, and then I'll give a quick demo of how we can set it up in Zoho Writer. So to give you an idea, so initially we set up a fillable form. So you can directly create it in Zoho Writer, or you can import an existing PDF, a fillable PDF, into the application. And then we proceed with inserting the required fields. In this specific use case, we'll be inserting fields like, as you mentioned, incident reported by, impacted users, date and time, the current status of the incident, etc. And then we'll be adding additional fields in this specific use case. It could be image fields or it could be file upload fields, etc. So we decide the final output. So in the final output, it could be the way of how we are handling the responses. So it could be by sending you a normal message mentioning that you have filled in the form, or even saving it to a spreadsheet, or even sending it as an email. So it is completely based on the preference or the requirement that you have within your IT team. So to continue with the demo, I hope the screen is visible with the writer document. All right. So first up, you set up a fillable template, and then so you have multiple fields available on the left pane itself. So if you simply go to writer.zoho.com and click on create new, so you'd have the option to create a new fillable document. And from here, when you go to the automate pane, you'll have the list of fields available. So to give you a look and feel, so this is a document that we have created for the just given some basic background colors and given a frame. There is a border for the specific document. So starting with, so given a title, and then when using for an instant description, we insert a multi-line text field. So when you go to the automate tab, so you have the multi-line text area field. If I click on this, you can see that label, so which is available as a tooltip. I'll also be able to configure the character limit. And then I also have the option to pre-fill the data. Additionally, next up for logs, so we have used the same multi-line area field, and we have used multiple single-line text fields here for using impacted users and triviality. And for issues started on and fixed on, we have made use of date fields, so which can be filled in directly from here. Needed, you can also insert a drop-down field too. And for the error message, so we have made use of a file upload field, right? So if you click on it, you can see that I have inserted a file upload field. I've given it a label for the error message, and I've allowed specific file types only to be inserted in the specific section. So I've allowed .png, .jpeg, and .jpg. And these files are in turn uploaded to Zoho Work Drive. I've chosen the folder right here. That's simple. Next up, I'll also be able to set up the maximum file size. I've set it as 5 MB. And even the field visibility can be configured directly from the left pane. I've chosen it to be visible. And there are additional fields and field level options for marking the field to be filled mandatorily. So all you have to do is just click on the checkbox. So you might be wondering what the tab order refers to. So when someone fills in the form, so we fill in the values, and if you click on tab, it goes to the next one. So that's how we have configured the tab order as well. So if you want to go to a different area, so all you have to do is just choose the field and click on the tab order. If I click on configure custom tab order, so it opens up the tab order on the right pane. That's that simple. Moving on. So we have the on submit actions. So on submission, I can either save a copy of the specific filled in form to a folder within Work Drive, or even send it as an email. Or additionally, we have an option to send it for signed collection as well. So all you need is an email address to be sent it to. In this specific use case, what we're doing is we are saving it to as a value, a record in a Zoho sheet. So this is the Zoho sheet in question. So I've filled in the values, I've given the headings, and so these values will be added subsequently right below here. All right, and I've also chose to show a custom message and redirection too. So the message that I've given is incident has been successfully reported. All right, and once that is done, so you have the option to test the fillable form or even share it directly to someone to have it filled in. But in most cases, when it comes to an incident management form, I hope it would be easier if you could just embed it based on your website itself. So in this specific use case, let me show you how it is done. Just clicking on access form. So just to give you a look and feel on how this would work, giving incident on network management. Just give the values. So as of now, I'm giving a sample value. And so this is how the file upload field works. So you just simply click on it. You have an upload button. So it opens up on your desktop file picker. So you choose the file. So you fill in the values of who reported the incident. So I can give in the values right here. So the issue started on, I'm choosing, let's say 12. And let's say I fixed it on 14. The severity is set as high. Giving in the incident GRA's name, and the current status is fixed. So if needed, you can also use drop-down fields as well. So all you have to do is just choose the field type from the left pane. All they have to do is just click on the submit button. So you can see this is the custom message that I've written. So it simply says incident has been successfully reported. So you might be wondering how about the on submission value where I wanted it to be saved as a Zoho sheet. So you can see right here, it gets added as soon as I've entered the value, and even the image is added as a link within the spreadsheet itself. So it's that simple. It's a very straightforward process. It's that easier to create an incident report form using the fillable templates in Zoho Writer.
Now let's go ahead with this form, which includes for the requester's name, asset type, that is fetched from a data source. And it also needs to have price, a pre-filled budget, and a formula to calculate the remaining budget. Finally, form should go to manager for an approval. So what's the best approach for this?
That's a good. For this, we'll set up a form where certain fields are populated from a database, like the asset type and price. And the formula field will dynamically calculate the remaining budget based on the selected asset. And once that is filled out, we can configure it to send for manager approval via an automated workflow. I'll show you how to set it up using another quick demo. So here's a quick mock diagram. So first up, we create the form or even have the PDF filled form imported into Zoho Writer. Next up, so the additional pointer here is we associate a data source. In this specific use case, I'll be making use of a Zoho Sheet spreadsheet where I have values for the assets and the price values associated to them. And next up, so we add in the requested value. So in this specific use case, so it could be the name of the requester, and the asset type will be fetched from the data source. We add up a lookup field, and then we use pre-filled fields. For example, in this specific use case, so we'll be using a price field, so which will pre-fill values based on the lookup field that we have entered, so which should be the asset fields. And next up, so we add a formula field to calculate the remaining budget based on the budget that has been set for the specific user. And next up, we send it for approval to the manager. So it's that simple. Let me show you how it works on a live document. This is the document that I've created. So I've inserted a table and I've filled in values for the requester name. So this is a single line text area field. I've given the label to enter your name, set a character limit, and it is marked to be mandatory to be filled. And next up, I've used asset type, and you can see there's a difference here. So it is a drop down field, but you can find it mentions fetch lookup from, and it says assets. So you might be wondering how this works. So to do that, so you'll have to configure a data source here. So in this specific use case, I've linked a spreadsheet. From here, you can see that this is the spreadsheet that I've linked here. So it has assets. So it has laptop, monitor, mobile phone, software license, and an external hard drive. And next up, we have the price relevant to those specific assets and the budget, the complete budget for this specific use case. And what we have done is, so we have used the lookup field. So all I have to do is just click on and the relevant field of my preference. In this specific use case, I'm using assets, so which has been entered right here. And from there, I've chosen it to be a drop-down field, and it will fetch values from the assets option. So you can see the multiple values shown here. And next up, I don't require any other values to be modified here, so I just want it to be a drop-down to fetch values from the spreadsheet. So that's how a lookup field works within a fillable template. Next up, I have inserted a price field. So it was a normal single line text field in which I've used a price value, and as it's a currency field, I've chosen the value to be rupees, and I have pre-filled the value using the price field. So from here, I've used the price field. And next up, so I wanted to watch the field from my spreadsheet so that it fetches the relevant value. So that if, let's say, if I'm choosing mobile phone, the price value should be 7,500. And if I choose external hard drive, the price value should be 16,500. So in that case, what I've done is I've pre-filled the value using price, and it is watching the field, the assets field. It's that simple. And I've marked it as read only so that the end users filling in the document do not modify the values. And next up, I've used a budget field, so which again fills the value from the spreadsheet. So it's a pre-filled value, and that should do. So I've configured the same value from the watching the assets too. And next up, a justification request for the reason why I'm requesting for the specific asset so that my manager gets to read it. we have used to calculate the remaining budget. So what we do is we subtract it based on the budget value and the price that we have filled in. So this is to show you that even the fillable fields can be used within the formula field, and it gets automatically updated as well. And so we have set up an custom message redirection. So you have successfully raised an asset request. And next up, we will be also sending it for approval to your manager. So this is where we do that. So we choose send responses for approval or completion. And from here, I've chosen a specific email address to which an approval will be sent to. So let me show you how the form works. So I'm choosing the asset type to be monitor. So you can see that the value 25,000 has been fetched based on the asset that I've chosen, and the budget has also been fetched. Additionally, you can see that the formula has been automatically calculated based on the difference between these two. So all I have to do is just type in my name, just provide a justification, and then click on submit. Voila, that's it. And next up, you might be wondering what is the process on the approval as well. Even that is much easier. So you can completely track the approval from the view submission log. And from here, you can see that it has been submitted and it has been sent for approval. So you can see that the specific user has approved it and submitted it, and we are waiting for an approval based on the email address that I've configured on the approval workflow. That's how simple it is to configure the use case number 2, where we are submitting an asset request.
That's great. Thank you so much, Balaji. The demo was helpful. So now let's tackle the IT incident management form. This one should have an asset reference field to link to an asset, an incident category field based on the selected asset, and fields for incident description, attachment, and priority levels. Can we do one now?
Sure, Srini. That was a great example. So this form requires a lookup field to pull in assets from the existing inventory that ensures data consistency. And the priority level can be dynamically set depending on the incident and the asset that we have chosen. So again, let me draw up a quick diagram and show how this can be done. So starting up with creating a fillable form. So as discussed in the previous workflows, so we either create it from scratch or import a fillable PDF document. And from there, we work on adding watch fields and lookup fields. And as the same use case as we discussed before, so we also associate a specific data source from which we'll be using watch fields and lookup fields. Again, so these fields would be the dynamic fields would be for lookup fields, and based on these lookup fields, we fetch values based on the watch fields too. So we'll also be inputting specific required values, and the process goes on just as the other use cases. So let me show you how it works. So this is the incident report form that we have created from scratch. So we have pre-filled the values for the employee name, date, and the employee address. So if needed, just as discussed in the previous use cases, you can have it input as text area fields, or even use merge fields here as too. And next up, so we have inserted our lookup field. So initially we have configured a data source. So this is the data source that we have configured. You can see that it contains assets and categories, the incident category relevant to those assets, and the priority based on the assets and the incident category that we have chosen. All right. So we have configured the data source from a Zoho Sheet spreadsheet. And as you can see in the lookup field, so we have inserted it as a drop-down, and it would fetch values from the assets. So which would be this specific column. And from here, so I've given it a label. So I've set the field visibility based on my preference. And additionally, so you have several options here. So you can have the visibility to be hidden to the end user, or you can have it visible for the end user, but not have it print. Additionally, you can also have it hidden, but not printable. So the field level configurations based on the visibility is modifiable for all the fields that have been inserted. Also, you have it option to mandatory to fill. So we have already discussed this too. And next up, so we have mixed the lookup field and the watch field based on this specific incident category. So that is how the use case was. So we have inserted a lookup field for the incident category. So we have choose this as a drop down, and it will fetch the values from the lookup field, the incident category. So this is how we have set it up. And next up, so this will be watching for the field assets. So that is based on the asset that you have chosen, you'll have the relevant incident category shown. For example, if you have chosen mobile phone, so you would get all these options. But whereas if it's software license, you'll just get these three options. So that is how we narrow it down. And next up, so if needed, you can set up a tooltip. Additionally, an incident description is a multi-line area field. And next up, we also have an attachment section right here, so which helps with giving information on the incident. Also, we have set up a priority field, so which is completely based on the asset and the incident category that you have chosen. So in this specific use case, so this priority will be a pre-filled value. So we have inserted the field priority from here, and then we have watched both these fields, that is assets and the incident category. So it will be looking out for both these fields, and the priority will be filled based on that. Additionally, I've also set it as read-only so that no one modifies the priority to. And next up, so you configure the on submission actions based on your preference. If you wanted to save it to a spreadsheet, yes, you can. But let's say if you wanted to send it for signature, even that can be done by sending it for sign collection. So we provide an extensive options for on submission actions as well. And let us test this out now. So I click on access form. From here, so I'm choosing the incident category. Just a quick second, let me configure if the incident category is set as red. All right. So I've chosen the asset reference to be mobile phone, and the incident category, I'm choosing it to be network issue. So incident is network failure, and I'm adding an attachment. So it supposed only PDF files, so which is why we can see that all the other ones are grayed out. And you can see it automatically sets the priority level as low because we have set the watch field for the priority level based on the incident and the asset reference. And I simply click on submit. So that's it. It's that much easier to work and create reports or even asset requests directly using the fillable templates in Zoho Writer.
Okay, that's great. So thanks, Balaji. What's on the horizon for fillable templates in Zoho Writer? Can you tell us about that?
So we have some exciting features that we are working on with the application. So starting with a dependent field support. So it works like a charm. So you can map two different fields together so that based on the value that you choose in the first field, the values or even the field appears based on the field that you have inserted on the previous one. So that is how the dependent field works. And we also used drop-down field in this specific use cases as well. So what we're doing is we are supporting inputting large drop-downs with the CSVs or even sheet. For example, let's say there is a country list with a large area. So you can make use of CSV or sheet to fetch information for your drop-down values. And just like how we support a repeat table using a subform within our mail merge templates, so we are planning on supporting it for our fillable templates as well.
In case if there is any questions, feel free to drop your questions to the shown email address on the screen. That is to support@zohowriter.com, or if you are from the EU European region, you can drop to support@eu.zohowriter.com, and we'll be available 24/7 to answer your questions. A big thank you to everyone for joining us today, and we hope you found the session valuable and are excited to explore the power of fillable fields in Zoho Writer. And see you then. We're excited to meet you in our next webinar session. Thank you so much once again. Have a good day.